Have you ever found yourself pouring all your energy, time and heart into someone, only to be met with indifference? You went the extra mile to show her how much you cared, putting her needs before your own, thinking it would make her feel valued. But instead of gratitude, you were met with coldness or even rejection. It hurts, doesn't it? That feeling of being dismissed, as if everything you did didn't matter. Society often tells men to toughen up, to bury their emotions and move on. But the truth is, rejection leaves a mark. It gnaws at your confidence, making you question your worth. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? These thoughts linger, pulling you into a spiral of self-doubt. And in an attempt to fix things, many men fall into the same trap. They chase, they call, they text, they explain, desperately trying to rekindle what's already lost. But here's the hard truth. Chasing doesn't work. It only strips you of your power, reinforcing the belief that your value depends on someone else's approval. What if I told you there's a better way? A way to rebuild your confidence, reclaim your dignity, and restore your sense of self-worth? The answer lies in silence, not as an act of revenge or a way to manipulate, but as a tool of strength, self-control, and personal growth. When you stop chasing, when you step back and remove your presence, something incredible happens. She begins to notice. She feels the void you left, and slowly the balance shifts. Today, we're going to explore why silence is such a powerful tool for men, how it not only transforms the dynamics of your relationships, but also helps you grow into a stronger, more grounded version of yourself. Are you ready to take back control of your life? Let's dive in. When you first choose silence, it's natural to expect her to notice right away. You might think that the absence of your texts, calls, and presence will immediately disrupt her world. But here's the reality. At first, she probably won't even blink. Instead, your silence might feel like a relief to her, a chance to embrace the space she thought she needed. Why is that? Because in her mind, you've always been there. She's grown used to your attention, your efforts, and your consistency. To her, it's something permanent, something she doesn't need to question or appreciate. In those initial moments, your silence won't feel like a loss. It will feel temporary, like a short break. She assumes you'll come back because you always have. To her, this is just another phase, not a lasting change. She might even convince herself that letting you go was the right choice. She tells herself she's free now, able to focus on her own life without the weight of your care. She dives into distractions, spending time with friends, posting on social media, keeping her days full of surface-level engagement. On the outside, she appears unfazed, maybe even thriving. But don't be fooled. This is just the calm before the storm. For many men, this is the hardest stage. Watching her seem indifferent, even happy, can feel like a gut punch. The temptation to reach out, to remind her of your presence, can be overwhelming. This is where most men falter. They let their emotions take control, break their silence, and chase after the validation they're unlikely to receive. Don't fall into this trap. Your silence isn't about her immediate reaction. It's about reclaiming your own power and redefining your value. Stoicism reminds us to focus only on what we can control and to release what we cannot. Her apparent indifference? That's beyond your control. What you can control is how you respond. This is your opportunity to redirect your energy inward, focusing on yourself instead of fixating on her lack of reaction. Take this time to grow. Hit the gym, learn a new skill, or dive into hobbies that make you feel alive. Reconnect with friends and family. Strengthen the bonds that remind you of your worth beyond her approval. As you focus on building yourself up, something subtle begins to shift. While she's busy enjoying her supposed freedom, the cracks in her confidence start to form. She doesn't realize it yet, but the absence of your presence is starting to settle in. The life she thought she wanted, without you, is beginning to feel emptier than she anticipated. Your silence, though seemingly unnoticed at first, is working. It's creating the space for her to truly experience life without you. And while that space might feel liberating for a time, it also plants the seeds of regret. Slowly but surely, she begins to feel the weight of your absence. It's not immediate and it's not loud, but it's there, growing beneath the surface. For now, your task is simple. Stay silent, stay disciplined, and stay focused on yourself. This phase isn't about her, it's about you. The man who doesn't chase, doesn't plead, and doesn't beg is a man who commands respect. As long as you hold firm, the balance will shift in ways you can't yet see. Remember this: her initial indifference isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. Your silence isn't an absence, it's a declaration. It says, "I know my worth, and I refuse to settle for less." Stay strong. The journey is far from over, and the real impact of your silence is yet to come. In the beginning, your silence might seem insignificant to her. Life moves on, and she goes about her days as if your absence doesn't matter. At first, it's easy for her to carry on without noticing the void you've left. But over time, something begins to change. It's subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but it's there, those quiet signs of emptiness creeping into her life. It starts with small things. No more good morning texts from you. No thoughtful messages lighting up her phone. No gestures that once added warmth to her day. Those little moments she once took for granted now feel conspicuously absent, but she brushes it off. It's no big deal, she tells herself. He'll reach out eventually. Yet somewhere deep down, a faint voice whispers, "What if he doesn't?" This is the quiet power of your silence. It's not loud, dramatic, or confrontational. It's steady, consistent, and unrelenting. Like a shadow growing larger over time, it slowly makes its presence known. What she thought was temporary now feels more permanent, and it's in this permanence that cracks begin to appear. She starts to feel the void you've left in her daily routine. She picks up her phone instinctively, only to realize there's no message from you. A familiar song on the radio or a place you once visited together triggers a memory she thought she'd buried. These moments seem trivial at first, but they're the seeds of something much deeper. Outwardly, she may continue to act as though everything is fine. She'll post photos, surround herself with friends, and dive into activities to distract herself. But behind the carefully curated images and smiles, a quiet discomfort starts to grow. It's an emptiness she can't quite name, but can't ignore either. For you, this stage is the ultimate test of patience. When you sense that she's beginning to feel your absence, it's tempting to break the silence, to reach out and remind her of your presence. But here's the hard truth. Doing so would undo all the progress you've made. Your silence is only as powerful as your ability to sustain it. This is the time to remain disciplined, to trust the process, and to stay focused on yourself. Stoicism teaches us that discomfort is not something to be feared, but embraced. It's a natural and necessary part of growth. Right now, you're both feeling the strain of silence, but in very different ways. For her, it's the growing realization that life without you isn't as fulfilling as she imagined. For you, it's the challenge of resisting the urge to seek validation. But this discomfort is the fertile ground where transformation begins, for both of you. As days turn into weeks, the emptiness she feels becomes harder to ignore. She may try to fill the void with distractions, nights out, shallow conversations, or even new connections. But none of it works. The space you once occupied in her life isn't something she can replace with surface-level interactions. It's deeper than that, and the more she tries to avoid it, the more undeniable it becomes. For you, this is where discipline is key. Use this time to focus on yourself, your goals, your passions, your personal growth. This journey isn't about waiting for her to notice your absence. It's about proving to yourself that you're strong enough to thrive without her recognition. Every day you stay silent is an investment in your future, a statement of your resilience. The first signs of emptiness in her life might seem small, but they're powerful. They're the beginning of her realization that what she's lost isn't just someone who cared, but someone who was truly irreplaceable. As these signs grow louder, so does the impact of your silence. Stay patient, stay focused, and remember this. Her emptiness is the foundation of a lesson she didn't know she needed. And for you, it's a reminder of your own strength and self-worth. Your silence isn't just a reaction. It's a declaration of the respect you hold for yourself and the life you're building. Number 2. As more time passes, the silence you've created begins to shift into something she can no longer ignore. What once felt like freedom, a break from your presence, has started to morph into unease. The small signs of emptiness that seemed insignificant at first are now a constant presence, creeping into her thoughts during quiet moments. The more she tries to dismiss it, the more persistent it becomes. Initially, it's subtle. She wonders why you haven't reached out. She reassures herself, he's probably busy or he'll come back, like always. But deep down, the confidence she once had in your return begins to falter. This silence is no longer just a pause in communication. It has become a mirror reflecting the choices she made. And that reflection is starting to make her question herself. This discomfort is most noticeable in the quiet moments, when she's scrolling through her phone and notices the absence of your messages, or when she's out with friends and feels an inexplicable emptiness. These realizations don't hit all at once. They build gradually, like drops of water filling a glass. With each passing day, the glass gets closer to overflowing. She might attempt to distract herself, throwing energy into work, social events, or even fleeting connections with others. But no matter how busy she tries to be, the void remains. These distractions are just temporary band-aids, unable to cover the deeper wound your silence has left behind. The stability, care, and attention you once provided are gone, and she begins to feel the weight of their absence. For someone new in your life, this realization may come as a surprise. She might have believed moving on would be easy, that letting go of you was the right decision. But now, every interaction with someone else highlights what she's missing. Each connection feels shallow, and she can't help but compare them to you, whether consciously or on a deeper emotional level. Those comparisons rarely end in anyone else's favor. For someone who's been in your life longer, the discomfort runs even deeper. She thought she could take your presence for granted, that no matter how distant she became, you would always be there. Now, as your silence stretches on, she realizes she was wrong. The life she believed would feel lighter without you now feels heavier, colder, and more isolated. What she once dismissed as insignificant has become a weight she can't shake. On your side, this stage is both a challenge and an opportunity. The discomfort she's feeling isn't about revenge or punishment. It's a natural outcome of the boundaries you've set. Your silence isn't about her at all. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and self-worth. While she's wrestling with her unease, you have the space to focus on what truly matters: your own growth. Stoicism teaches us that discomfort is a necessary part of transformation. It forces us to face our vulnerabilities and rise above them. Right now, her discomfort is showing her the value of what she lost, while your discipline is helping you evolve into a stronger, more confident version of yourself. During this stage, it's crucial to resist the urge to break the silence. You might feel tempted to check in, to see how she's doing, or to remind her of your presence. But doing so would only undo the progress you've made. Your silence is working, not just on her, but on you. It's teaching you patience, self-control, and the art of letting go. As the days turn into weeks, her discomfort will grow harder to escape. She'll find herself thinking about you more often, wondering what you're doing and whether you've moved on. The realization that she may have lost you for good will begin to take root, and it will become harder for her to ignore. For you, this stage is a powerful reminder of how far you've come. The person you were at the start of this journey, the one who might have chased, begged, or pleaded, is no longer here. You've transformed into someone who values himself enough to walk away from situations where he isn't respected or appreciated. That transformation is what gives your silence its strength. The discomfort she's feeling now is only the beginning. It's the first step in her understanding the depth of what she let go. For you, it's a testament to your growth and resilience. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and trust the process. This discomfort isn't just a reflection of her choices. It's a reflection of your progress. And that progress is what makes your silence so powerful. As the silence continues, the space you've left in her life grows harder for her to ignore. What began as a subtle discomfort has evolved into a persistent, gnawing void. She knows she needs to address it, but this is where the struggle truly begins, because what she's searching for isn't something she can easily replace. Her first instinct is to distract herself. She throws herself into nights out with friends, new hobbies, and endless scrolling on her phone, anything to avoid facing the emptiness. For a while, these distractions seem to work. They provide brief moments of escape, temporary relief from the thoughts creeping in. But no matter how much she fills her schedule, the silence remains, waiting for her in the quiet moments. When she's alone with her thoughts, she feels it the most. Eventually, she tries to fill the gap with new connections. Maybe she starts dating, talks to someone new, or even reconnects with an old flame. On the surface, it might look like she's moving on, but beneath the surface, these efforts often fall short. Why? Because she's not just searching for a relationship. She's searching for the depth, stability, and authenticity that you brought to her life. The people she meets might seem exciting at first, but as time goes on, the comparisons begin. She starts to notice the subtle differences, the way they don't truly understand her, the way they overlook the small details she always remembered, or the lack of meaningful conversations she once took for granted. These realizations slowly build up, creating frustration and even a sense of longing. For someone new in your life, this realization can be surprising. She may have believed you were easily replaceable, that someone else could step into your role effortlessly. Now, she's starting to understand that what you offered wasn't ordinary, it was rare. Each failed attempt to replicate what you brought to her life only reinforces how valuable you were. For someone who had been in your life longer, the frustration cuts even deeper. She may have assumed you'd always be there, a steady fallback if her other options didn't work out. But as the silence stretches on, she's confronted with a harsh truth. You're no longer waiting. The shallow connections she thought could replace you don't provide the loyalty, understanding, or emotional depth you offered. This stage is often marked by inner conflict. She starts questioning her own choices. Did I make a mistake? Was I too quick to let go? Did I underestimate him? These questions begin to echo in her mind, growing louder with each failed attempt to fill the void. While she wrestles with her doubts, you're continuing to evolve. It's tempting during this stage to wonder if someone else is stepping into the role you once played, if she's found someone to do what you used to do for her. But here's the truth. The value you brought to her life isn't something that can be easily duplicated. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and right now, the only thing you can control is your growth. Let go of comparisons and redirect that energy toward becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on your goals, your mindset, and your own journey. As her frustration deepens, so does her awareness of what she lost. She begins to see that the people she's meeting don't measure up to the standard you set. They can't offer the same sense of security, understanding, or connection. With each failed attempt to replace you, the void you left behind feels larger, more significant, and more permanent. For her, this stage is humbling. It forces her to confront the truth that not all connections are equal, and that what she had with you wasn't as easily replaceable as she once believed. For you, this stage is empowering. By maintaining your silence and focusing on your growth, you've proven that your worth isn't tied to someone else's recognition. You've shown her and yourself that you're not just another option. You're someone who commands respect and leaves a lasting impact. As this phase nears its end, her frustration begins to shift into something deeper: regret. But for you, this isn't a moment of loss. It's a victory. You've stayed true to yourself. You've resisted the urge to chase, and you've demonstrated that your value is defined by who you are, not by anyone else's approval. So keep moving forward. The best is yet to come. Your growth, strength, and self-respect are the ultimate rewards, and they pave the way for the brighter future ahead. Regret is a quiet, creeping force. It doesn't hit all at once. It grows slowly, fed by the realization of what's been lost. For her, it begins with discomfort and frustration. First from your absence, then from the failed attempts to fill the void you left. And now, she's face to face with an undeniable truth. She made a mistake. At first, regret shows up in fleeting moments, those quiet times when her mind wanders back to you. She remembers how you made her feel seen, valued, and supported. Those little memories play on repeat. The thoughtful gestures, the inside jokes, the way you understood her in ways others never could. Each memory weaves together into a vivid picture of what she had, what she took for granted, and now, what she's lost. With each passing day, the weight of that realization grows heavier. She won't admit it, not to herself, and certainly not to anyone else, but the regret is there. It's in the way she hesitates before sending a text, unsure if you'd even reply. It's in the way she scrolls through old photos or rereads past messages, searching for traces of the connection she once dismissed. These small actions speak volumes. They're driven by the deeper truth she's beginning to accept. She let go of something rare, something valuable, and she may never find it again. For someone new in your life, this stage is a humbling experience. She might have thought it would be easy to move on, that letting you go was just another choice in a sea of options. But now she's starting to see that what you brought to her life wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just another fleeting connection. It was meaningful, stabilizing, and irreplaceable. For someone who had been in your life longer, the regret cuts even deeper. She thought she knew you, thought she understood your value. But as the silence stretches on, she realizes she underestimated you. The life she thought would feel complete without you now feels hollow, and that emptiness is a constant reminder of her mistake. On your side, this stage is a testament to your growth. Her regret isn't something you caused. It's the natural consequence of her own decisions. Stoicism teaches us to let go of the things we can't control, and her regret is one of those things. It's not your job to fix it, to comfort her, or to make it easier for her. That burden is hers to carry, not yours. As her regret deepens, she may feel compelled to reach out. It might start with a casual message, testing the waters, or perhaps a more heartfelt apology. No matter how she chooses to express it, the underlying message is the same. She knows what she lost. But here's the key. Her regret isn't the purpose of your silence. It's simply a byproduct. The true goal of your silence has always been about reclaiming your power, your confidence, and your self-worth. This is where many men falter. When she expresses regret, it's tempting to rush back. After all, hearing someone acknowledge your value can feel validating. But this journey was never about her recognition. It was about you, about building boundaries, maintaining your strength, and staying true to yourself. If you choose to respond, do it on your terms, not hers. For her, regret is a powerful teacher. It forces her to confront the consequences of her actions and the reality of what she lost. For you, it's a reminder of your transformation. The man who might have chased, begged, or pleaded is no longer here. You've become someone who knows his worth, someone who doesn't settle for less than he deserves. As this stage reaches its conclusion, her regret will reach its peak. She'll wonder if she'll ever find someone like you again, if she's permanently lost the connection she once dismissed. For you, this is a moment of clarity, a chance to see how far you've come. It's a moment to acknowledge the strength and resilience you've gained through this process. Her regret may feel overwhelming to her, but for you, it's a stepping stone. It's proof that your silence wasn't just powerful, it was transformative. So stand tall, hold firm, and remember, the real victory is the growth you've achieved. You've already won. This journey was never just about her. It was about you. It was about finding your inner strength, rediscovering your self-worth, and proving to yourself that you don't need anyone's validation to feel complete. Your silence wasn't a game or a tactic. It was a declaration of self-respect. It was your way of saying, I know my value, and I refuse to settle for less. Through this process, you've not only made a statement to her, but, more importantly, to yourself. You've shown that you're not just an option, you're the standard. The space you created wasn't empty. It was filled with power, growth, and transformation. While she may have spent this time grappling with discomfort, frustration, or regret, you've been quietly building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and growth. Everything else, her feelings, her choices, her regrets, is outside of your influence. And that's okay. By letting go of what you can't control, you've freed yourself from the need for her approval. Instead, you've discovered that your strength, confidence, and happiness come from within. So, what's next? You keep moving forward. Whether she reaches out or stays silent, whether she regrets her choices or not, none of it defines your worth. The man you've become throughout this journey is proof that you're capable of thriving, no matter what. You've reclaimed your power, and that's a victory no one can take from you. This is your story now. It's not about chasing someone who couldn't see your value. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to chase. You've grown, you've endured, and you've emerged stronger. As you continue on this path, remember, your silence was never just an absence. It was a bold, powerful statement, a reflection of the respect you hold for yourself. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Hit the like button, subscribe for more insights, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. In the comments, tell me, what does your silence mean to you? Let's continue building this strength together, one step at a time. Remember, you've already won.